Greetings, I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And we're from the Jedi Sonic Advisory Board, here to help you make a choice on a brand new amplifier purchase.
We did some cool amp reviews just before Christmas of the new Roland Cube, the Vox new VT Plus range, the Fender Mustang
Line 6.
And a few months before that we did the Line 6 one. So we thought we better shoot them all out for you.
Bang!
Bang, bang, bang!
Shootout styley, because that's what we're like, and because we're really efficient and organised.
Yeah.
We've also gone and got ourselves a whiteboard, and Lee's drawn a grid of goodness.
We'll show you the whiteboard. Ping! So yeah, so you can see we're going to try all 4 amplifiers, and then myself and Rob and Andrew, our sound man, are going to mark them out of 10 for, let me remember,
Lots of categories, including looks,
features,
tone,
loudness,
portability,
value,
portability,
and value, and tone.
And then we'll get a total, and then we'll know who the winner is.
And who the winner is. And there's no bullshit here. I don't care. I'm not going to ally. I'm not going to ally myself with any brand. I don't care who wins and who loses. This is honest, straight from the heart.
Yes.
Well, should we tell them what the first amp is?
No.
Okay, yes. We're not going to tell you what any of the amps are, so it's a pointless shootout.
Okay, the first amp is
amp
the Fender Mustang.
Is a Fender Mustang II. So Fender Mustang II is the second one up in the range of Mustangs. So this is the 40-watt one.
And by the way, we're using the awesome Andertons Special Strat, not available for purchase from anywhere.
So Mustang II, this is the 40-watt one, 12-inch speaker, so nice big cabinet here. It's the biggest cabinet of the 4 that we're going to shoot out today. Heaps of different modelling effects on it. These are all modelling amplifiers, so got all kinds of different sounds that are emulating different guitar amps. Heaps of different effects. Got 24 different locations you can store your own sounds in. Probably the coolest feature that's only on the Mustangs, not on any of the other amps, is the USB output.
Yeah.
So you can connect this guitar amp straight to your PC to access the Fender Fuse software, which gives you heaps more editing, heaps more places to store your sounds, and actually will work as an audio interface as well. So you also get some free software that you can download from the Fender Fuse site called Ableton Live Lights. Some very basic sort of sequencing software. So straight out the box with the Mustang, you can start recording onto your PC.
That's exciting.
It is cool. So here's a sweep shot of the panel, so you can kind of see what the knobs and buttons are. And what I'm going to do, what else have we got on here, just super quickly? We've got a tuner, we've got an auxiliary input for playing along to your iPod, we've got a headphone socket, so pretty much all the kind of cool stuff that you'd want on a small amplifier.
It's laid out in quite a sort of simple way, isn't it? I mean, it's not that confusing to understand at first glance.
It's got this beautiful kind of, I guess, kind of graphite sort of effect vinyl on here with the classic Fender silver front. So anyway, the presets are set into 3 banks of 8. We've got red, green and amber. I believe it's red and green are the ones you can edit yourselves, and amber the ones are always fixed. I'm just going to go through the presets while Rob plays some goodness.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah. It's quite... It really has a tube
like a 60s.
It really does have a good, yeah, like a. It's kind of overwhelming that the Fender-y type tones are really good. They kind of leap out as being quite authentically Fender-y.
And then I think it becomes a bit more artificial sounding the more you start to drive it, doesn't it?
A bit, but I mean, they're still... The drive sounds are good.
And Mr. Soundman, how much is this fine piece of dandy?
Drum roll! My drum roll hurts, Lee!
Mine too, I'm getting a stitch.
£146.
£146.
That's a Jiminy bargain at Andertons.
I think that makes this the cheapest one of the 4, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Well, we'll find out when we get to the end
That
of
is
this thing.
very cheap, isn't it?
It is. That's ridiculous.
That's kind of pocket money cheap.
It's a lot of amplifier.
That's
for
like,
that type
do I
of
go out
money.
for a beer and a kebab, or do I buy an amp?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, let's commence with looks.
Looks, out of 10, it's a strong looker, I think.
It's a strong looker.
I think we've got to give
it's
it...
a 7.
You're going 7, I was going 8. So I'm like, should we go 7.5?
7.5 it is.
7.
So amicably done.
5.
There's something really satisfying about this.
It is.
Features. Well,
Now-
it does do every amp in the Fender book.
There's lots of different amp models. It's got the USB output. I know there's a... I wouldn't have said it's... Apart from the USB thing, it's not doing anything massively different to
Well, I
anything
guess the
else.
question is there anything it doesn't do?
Well, we're going to come on to that with the, some of the Roland's got some cool features, and the
Doesn't have a
Vox
looper,
has
does it?
got you see, and the Vox has
Yeah.
got some interesting features.
Damn you with your no looper!
So I think we're going to go. The fuse thing is a definite because nothing else does that fuse thing. So
So
I
you're
think,
thinking 6 or 7? I mean, it is
I think
pretty
it's
featured.
pretty featured. Is we go 7.
7 it is.
Oh, look at that! I've written like a 4-year.
Like a what?
Anyway, that's a 7 with like some sort of
7.
Elvis Presley quiff on the front.
Yeah.
Now value.
Value, well, that's ridiculous.
Value is relative, isn't it?
Yes.
Because obviously, if it was dearer than all the other ones, it would be not good value. But as
Yes.
it's cheaper than all the other ones,
It's super
going to
value.
get super
I'm
value.
going to
So
give it an 8.
I'm going 9.
Are you?
Well, how can anything be any better value?
Well,
than
then why
that?
is it not 10?
Could be a 10. Let's
10
go
it,
9.
buddy.
Should we go 10?
10 it.
Dancing on Ice. 10.
Yay!
We haven't done loudness. have we?
Loudness. No, we haven't.
We need to go back and do
Okay.
just
Super metal it up. But before we do that, portability.
portability.
I noticed it was the lightest of the lot.
But it's the biggest.
It is. How does that work?
How does that work? It's
I don't
obviously
know.
made of paper mache or something.
Paul, how does that work?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
So
It's
it's the
probably
lightest,
made of-
but it's the biggest. So
It
what
is.
do we go straight down the middle? 5 then.
Okay.
Tone.
Tone.
Probably the most important one
I
of all
think
that we've
the
left till last.
cleany crunch tones,
Clean
really
was
good.
amazing.
Yeah, really good. I think the crunchy, dirty metal tones left a little bit to be desired, but still were
Overall
good.
it's good.
I'm going to go for.
If you're a clean blues player,
Oh, yeah, it
you'd
would be
probably
an
go
8.
8, 9, maybe
Yeah, I
even
think
10.
so,
But
yeah.
if you're a metal player, you might go what
6.
5 or 6. So
Yeah.
we'll go in the middle. 7.5
I
again.
think that's a very good idea.
7.5. 7.5.
5. Okay, so we've got to see how loud it is, and then we can get a total. Oh, that's good.
It's definitely it's not handling the bottom end brilliantly at that kind of full power.
No,
is it? But
it's going mad.
You could definitely turn up at a little rehearsal or something with that.
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
you? And
yeah. It's very directional though.
yeah, a little school gig or something like that. I think
Yeah.
you could probably do that with it.
Directional, but good. You could do a small school gig. You could do a little pub thing. I'd give it a 7.
Give it a 7. I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of 7s. But yeah, I think 7 is good.
I think
I
7.
like this amplifier though.
I like
It's
it
getting
too.
the definite seal of approval from the captain. What about from the
It gets
Jedi?
the seal of approval from the captain.
Maybe
The
a little-
Jedi Academy gives it 7.
Let's do it. 44. Oh, the 4s. What are they saying? Bingo calling.
They
it all the
say
4s.
stop playing bingo because it's really sad.
Roland.
Roland,
I'm only
Roland.
trying to help you, Roland. For those of you that remember that classic series from the 80s.
Airwolf.
That's the one.
Was it Manimal? Not Automan then.
What does Auto Man?
You don't remember Automan?
No.
It was a man who became a car or a bike. Right, anyway, we've got the Roland.
So this is another 40-watt amplifier, but this time with a 10-inch speaker and in a much smaller cabinet than the Fender. So what that should mean is that it probably won't have the bass end that the Mustang had. But we'll
Less
see.
space in your car boot.
It's slightly different to the Mustang. In fact, slightly different to most of these in that it doesn't really work on a preset basis. So although I've got one setting called the solo setting that I can program up and recall at any time, the rest of it works more like a normal amplifier. So I've got a clean channel and I've got a drive channel, and then I would choose the type of amp that I want to simulate on my drive channel. So what I'm going to do here is, rather than going through the presets, we're just going to go through the different drive sounds. There are lots of effects that you can choose from here, you know, all the usual chorus, flanger, reverb, delay, all that kind of stuff that I can add in. So I'm just going to choose an appropriate one for whatever sound that we're on. We've got the tuner built in, just like before. Some of the cool features this does have that will make it a little different to everything else. It's got an acoustic guitar simulator, so you can make your electric guitar sound like an acoustic. It's got probably one of the most authentic, if not the most authentic, valve sort of reacting types of sounds called Dynaramp. So this is where you can really hear how the amp changes by just backing the volume off on the guitar.
It's like a dinosaur in an amp.
Probably its coolest feature, it's similar to a dinosaur in an amp. Its coolest feature that separates it from the rest is it's got the looper built in, which we did a big Cube video a month or two ago, which you can go and look if you want to see that. But the looper's super cool.
Yeah.
It's got a power squeezer effect, which kind of fattens things up at a slightly lower volume.
It looks like it could take a kicking too, doesn't it?
I would certainly agree with you. It says it looks like it can take a kicking because it's got this nice metal kind of grill front here.
Well, it's got these
nice
kind of
sturdy,
reinforced corners and all that kind
looks
of
like
stuff.
a bit of an Autobot, doesn't it?
It does look like an Autobot.
But I personally think it looks a little bit like it was stuck in the 80s. I don't think it's... This is where you really like the look of these, don't you?
Yeah, I think they're cool.
The last one, the Dynaramp, which show off the volume thing. Who would win out of the T-Rex Triceratops classic clash of the dinosaurs?
T-Rex Triceratops. Well, T-Rex was a scavenger of dead carcasses and not a killer as previously thought.
Yeah.
So the Triceratops, although a Vegosaurus, probably would have won. Belly shot, mate. Belly shot, horns.
Yeah. So what was the scariest, biggest, nastiest dinosaur? Like, if the T-Rex was just a scavenger, was there like...
The Chaposaurus.
Oh, the Chaposaurus.
Definitely Chaposaurus.
Has that got big arms, or has it still got little arms that go out the front like this? Gigantic legs. Why did the Chaposaurus become extinct?
To get to the other side. Which works at many levels.
quite clever, that
That's
one.
good. Yeah. Takes a
Chappers
kick.
does rather like these amplifiers. I think the sneaky little bird told me that he might have one of these at home. So what's your signature tone? You have
Okay,
it.
it's Dynaramp, all the gain, lots of volume, heavy octave, delay, set to my heartbeat. The heavy octave is a really cool effect because you can just use it. Basically, the second I put that effect on, I wrote 2 tunes.
Really?
It's as simple as that. It's like a POG, if you know what a POG
Was
is.
one called Captain's Seal of Approval?
It was called the Seal of Approval.
I got the Seal of Approval!
You've killed my volume.
It's in tuner mode.
Oh yeah, E.
2 sharp, about right. This point you have.
I like this blind tuning thing, right? I hit a string and the lead tells me whereabouts I am.
Let's just turn the tuner off and tune normally. Here in my car, I go driving around to see my friend, the captain's boat hole in cars.
Man the mainsail.
Roger the cabin boy. Let's see how loud it goes. So I'm going.
Okay.
We go extreme mode.
Yeah.
Maximum everything. Sound man, hold your ears.
Didn't handle particularly well. It was a bit de la fizzage.
It was a bit fizzage, wasn't it? That might have been the extreme setting, or is it just a bit fizzage at high volumes?
I'd like to hear it on my setting. Put it back to mine. Dynaramp, all
Maxed
gain,
out.
max out, and then put that octave in too.
Oh, that's going to kill them.
Yeah!
All right.
It's alright, man. The octave effect still
It
works.
does. It helps, doesn't it?
It's
I don't
loud.
Think I don't think it's as loud as the Mustang.
It's not as loud.
See, this is the thing, guys. You see that when something says it's 40 watts or 20 watts,
They
stuff like
lie.
that, there's so well. No, that's a power. That's a power thing, and it's although it's a guide as to how loud something's going to be, it's not the be all and end all.
No.
So that's why you can have, we've got
Because the be all and end all is a giant bee.
with an endle.
He's a huge bee king.
I'm trying to be serious here, and you're trying to educate these people.
I am the ruler of all bees.
Anyway, let's score it over to the board.
Okay.
With our gorgeous
board.
assistant, Levana.
Roland Cube looks. We're divided in opinion. You think it looks like.
I just don't. I think it just looks old-fashioned.
think you can see
not
it?
old-fashioned, as in modern
Dated.
in the 80s, dated.
I think it looks pretty cool. I would give it a 6. What would you give it?
I'll go 6 with you on 6.
Okay, that's very kind of you.
Now features.
Features.
It's
It's got
important,
the
really,
looper.
isn't it? It's got the looper. It's got some. It's got the tuner.
It doesn't kind of.
Doesn't have a look. Doesn't really.
It
Have the
doesn't talk
preset
down
thing.
to you and give you presets,
No.
which I kind of like.
Talk down to you.
Yeah. See, presets to me are kind of one of those things that you go, have a preset. Presets make everything better if you don't
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe, but I like the fact that on the, you can store lots of different sounds, so you don't have to remember what you dialed up before. You can just store it. Having said that, though, although the feature set is different to the Mustang, because obviously it doesn't have the USB thing and it doesn't have the presets, I think the looper means it's at least as well featured.
And it's
as the
got
Mustang.
Dynaramp,
And it's got Dynaramp,
which is
cool.
very good.
So we're giving it a 7, or
I would
maybe
give it a 7. I would almost give it 7.5.
I was about to say maybe because the looper is something.
It's such
I think
a great
if
feature.
I had the Mustang, I must admit, although the USB thing's very, very cool, how often would I actually be bothered to try and plug this into my computer?
You know what? I'd
So-
never be bothered.
Yeah, well, some
Just
people
like
will.
I've never updated the map on my sat nav.
Yeah, so I'm going 7.5 on the Roland, not because it's necessarily got more features, but because I just think it's got slightly better. That's the looper really giving it an extra half.
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
174.
Ooh.
174.
So it's quite a bit more expensive than the Mustang, so it's not going to get such good marks for value. is
No,
it?
I'd give it an 8.
You think about it, if you had to go and buy a looper pedal, it would cost you £150.
Yeah.
So it's got to have an 8, hasn't it?
I think an 8.
For value. 8.
Loudness.
Which is interestingly also similar to the fret marking on the 12th fret of a Monkey Lord ML1.
So loudness, it didn't really.
No, it wasn't as loud.
It's
Definitely
good.
not as
For
loud.
me, it gets a 5.
It's got to go 5.
It's loud, but it kind of got fizzy too.
5. It's super portable though.
Very small.
Even though it's a little bit heavier than the Mustang, it's the smallest one. So it's got to be
It
super
does look like it
portable.
can take a kicking.
So we've got to go
I think
8.
it's going to go, at least 8 for portability.
Because it's definitely super portable. Great for taking to school and leaving lying around.
Tone.
Like that. I didn't really like the clean sounds in the.
But the dirty sounds are
The
good.
dirty sounds are much better.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree with you.
So should we just mark it the same?
I would go the same.
Because it's essentially getting the same tonal mark as the Mustang, but more perhaps for you guys that like a bit of gain. 42.
Woo!
Do you know what?
Is that the answer to the meaning of life?
It is, according to Douglas Adams.
It is.
Let's get my
He's
calculator.
right all the time. Fender Mustang versus Roland Cube.